Today, I have a very special guest here with me for our latest Recapping with Recapped. It's obviously been a really tough year for everybody, and there's been a lot of challenges, a lot of things that went well. Joined here by Alina, co-founder of a tool that I think almost everyone knows, Chili Piper. Alina, thank you so much for taking time.
Love to be on this series, Mark.
Yeah, of course. For anybody that's living in a cave for the last 5 years that doesn't know what you do, can you share, quick intro? Who are you? What do you do? Why is it so exciting?
So what we're mostly known for is our inbound solution for forms. When somebody comes on your website and wants to contact you, they typically fill out a form and then they get a thank you. Somebody will contact you soon. A lot of pipeline is lost that way because a lot of people that fill out the form go dark. You don't hear from them anymore because they go to a competitor, they forget they fill out the form. So what we solve for is that in real time, we qualify them with data sources and other information to make sure that they are the right fit for your company. And if they are, we put them in touch immediately with a sales rep or with a customer success account manager, depending what the right person to talk to them. And if it's after hours or if it's a weekend, we can also book meetings. Funny enough, we're being called scheduling tool. Just funny, there's only one piece in there that's about scheduling, but I take it.
Yeah, it's funny. So, as customers of Chili Piper, I think, and take this with a grain of salt, but I got an email the other day about our renewal. And for me, it was easily the easiest renewal to do without having to think about it. I was like, what am I going to do? Rip this out
Oh,
because it is literally the plumbing for what we're doing everything else with.
that's music to my ears.
Yeah. From one founder to another. I know how much that means. What has been your go-to-market and strategy through, I guess, over the years because you guys built such an incredible business?
At the beginning, it was very different than it is now. At the beginning, it was very focused on influencers in our space, making sure that they love the product and then they talk about it. And we would try every possible door and window to those influencers. Then we also went heavy with events. You and I, we meet oftentimes at events. It's still a big part of our strategies. But now we have many other ways in which we reach out to customers. By far, our customers talking about us is our number one channel. As a result, we're very focused on making sure our customers are happy and they're getting the return of investment there, and they're being cared for not only with the product but overall within their strategies for GTM themselves. And then we have a lot of work that we're doing with partners, a lot of go-to-market with channel partners and product partners. We also do a lot of social media content and presence there with everybody in our company, which is unusual. Yeah, we do ads, SEO, less. Those are some of the main ones.
Yeah. So everything. Okay.
A bit of everything.
Yeah. So 2023 was a tough year for, I think, a lot of people, right? There's a lot of businesses unfortunately shutting down. Layoffs were kind of the common norm. What worked really well for you in 2023?
The main channels for go-to-market still remains our customers. That's the main for self-reported attribution is customers talking about us. Second
Wow.
best is our social media presence and our podcast. And then third is events and partnerships.
That's amazing. Outside of, I guess, go to market, were there strategies or tactics or best practices or hacks that you guys implemented that also worked really well?
Mm, we don't shy away from doing crazy stuff, crazy things, and talking about them. They might not work immediately for converting to pipeline, but people for sure remember us for the brevity to talk about our experiments. We build in public, and sometimes we have failed things that are going on. Sometimes we have successes. For instance, us talking about a process for how our SDRs book meetings, it's slightly tangent to what we do, but we still share these stories. We also do crazy trips, and sometimes our trips break a little bit the internet.
Where'd you guys go recently? Was it Iceland or?
It was Iceland. It was so
Yeah.
much fun. It was so much
Oh,
fun.
looks amazing. So I guess a couple questions come to mind. You mentioned that the word of mouth and the customer happiness, that's your number one go to market. What are you guys doing differently there that other companies aren't?
It started with me being the customer success rep at Chili Pepper when we started. And, as a founder, you do a bit of everything. I was support, I was a builder, a designer, a brand, you name it. But
Yeah.
I was also onboarding customers. And I was noticing that getting the tool up and going is important, obviously, because you want to get the ROI right away. However, I was noticing that my customers were just as human as I was, and they were needing help with other ways in their role. Someone wanted to know a better way to do gifting campaigns, or they wanted to do a better way to go with their outbound strategy and so forth. And I would always have someone else in mind that was doing it really well, and I would connect people behind the scenes.
Interesting.
Or I might have noticed that they would be on a call with me doing onboarding, and for the day they had no childcare, because we work a lot with remote workers, for instance, and I knew how hard it is to care for your babies and work at the same time. So I might have sent them Uber Eats for the lunch that day. And that these are the little things that one doesn't think about, and they think, oh, it's an extra cost that adds to the cost of acquisition and so forth. However, people are people, and if you care for them beyond just the tool, the likelihood of them remembering and sticking with you is high. So we encourage everybody in the team to be helpful in any way that they can. Sometimes it's not obvious. Sometimes we might not have enough touch points with our customers to be able to help them beyond the setting up the tool. But when we get the opportunity, we don't shy away from doing it.
I love that. It reminds me a lot of the book Unreasonable Hospitality, where they talk about doing all of the little things that, make a difference.
So for instance, right now, if I was on an onboarding call with you and I would hear the dog, I would remember that you have a dog. I would put a note in the account that you have a dog. So our Christmas presents will probably be a lot of dog treats.
All right. Well, I'll look forward to that. No, I'm kidding. But you're absolutely right. It's all of those little things that make a difference, right? Because at the end of the day, it is people interacting with people, and so much of our days are stuck in Zoom calls and, doing all these things that are monotonous, and you forget that like there are people on the other side of the table, especially for those working from home and struggling with that. So it sounds like a lot of things went really well for you guys. And again, congrats on the success. What didn't? What were some of the most painful lessons of this year? What were things that flopped or experiments that didn't work out?
What I wish I would have played a lot more attention earlier in the year is shifting my mindset faster because I've been an entrepreneur for 8 years now, and I've been focused so much on growth, like double this year, triple this year, double this year, triple this year. And that was like my main North Star. I've been bootstrapped, so NRR has always been like an efficiency and a number that I focused from the beginning. So I don't want to downplay that experience as a bootstrapper, but because for 7 years I've been doubling down on growth, when that was no longer the case for us. We didn't double this year, unfortunately. We are still growing and we're cash positive, but we didn't double. It was very hard for me to retrain my brain to be okay with it, because it's a lost opportunity to re-energize into other metrics and re-energize the team as a leader, how we show up for the rest of the team. And I wish I could have paid a lot more attention to just my own way of measuring success for my own self, to be able to bring that to the team as well. Like, it's okay if we're not doubling this year. It's fine. We're focusing on cash profitability and getting back to those bootstrap years. And it's for me right now to wake up in the morning and not be stressed about finances. It's it's such a big relief.
I can only imagine how well that you must sleep. I imagine that change couldn't have been easy, right? Because I also went through it. I mean, we're a fraction of the size, but it's changing the way you're wired, the way you're thinking about it. Was there anything that really helped you make that change and kind of like come to terms with that? Hey, your self-worth is not your percentage of growth in the year. It's obviously something different. Like, how did you think through that and battle through that?
I'm very competitive, very, very competitive. And I'm not talking about competitive with other people. I'm just competitive with my own self. And I always want to beat whatever record I've had. So it's tough when you're in that kind of competitive mode at all times to create a different kind of mentality on the type of thing that you're competing against. And now I'm looking at other entrepreneurs that have such amazing efficiency per employee. Like, there are companies that are doing 20 million in ARR with so few employees, and they're bootstrapped. And because of all the efficiency that you can achieve with AI and with autonomous bots right now, it's kind of beautiful to have a different kind of competitiveness where you can still grow in a sustainable way, and in the meantime create an environment where people are happy. And that's so darn hard because there are so many people that, as a founder, that are within your ecosystem. And I'm not referring only to our employees, because we have partners, we have customers, we have prospects, and I consider them our entire ecosystem. And I have some responsibility of how that ecosystem is impacted. And it's a beautiful puzzle to solve. Beautiful.
Reminds me of the Instagram story where I think they got acquired for $1 billion with 10 employees or 12 employees,
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's
Wow.
incredible. And that was however many years ago, right? So if you, let's say, starting January 1st, you can only do one play to get revenue and get customers, what is the playbook that you're running, right? Because you talked about doing influencers and partnerships and ecosystem. And I mean, you guys are doing a little bit of everything. What is the one thing that you would bet the company growth on?
Customer marketing, no
What does
doubt.
that mean? What does that mean to you?
Caring for my customers.
Okay. And
There's no hesitation on that. Yeah.
yeah, there was zero hesitation in your answer.
Mm.
Love it. What are you most excited about for 2024? What are you going to do differently?
We have a interesting challenge next year, because now that we've reached profitability this year, it was not easy, but we managed to do it. Yeah.
Congrats.
It now a question of, okay, you found that stability, and now get back to growth and do that efficiently. And next year you'll get back to at least close to doubling. And we have projections, but it's so hard to predict. It's like we couldn't have predicted how fast generative AI would progress. Couldn't have predicted COVID, really what 2024 looks like. But I'm excited about making that growth happen now in an efficient way. I'm very excited about that.
I haven't asked this to other people, but because I know how crazy you are about AI, how are you thinking about it? Are you what excites you about AI, whether it's with Chili Piper or outside of it?
There are so many things that you have to do on a repeated basis. So now that I've been an acting CMO for Chili Piper, I saw how much of the tasks in the marketing rely on marketing ops, and how many things you have to go and upload lists and augment the list and do the scoring, and then put them back and remember to put the status, create the list before, operationalize the invites, getting the right message in the right space with the right segment, and the one-on-one marketing. And there's just like so many things that can be automated. And we can get so much better at resonating with the person in front of us, because we can take something that works and then we can replicate it by the industry, and then we can replicate it by persona. And because we have so many products, it can make us so much, at least appear so much more intelligent than we are. And that's what we could possibly do, because we're not a big team in the marketing team where it's only 4 of us. It's interesting to see how we can amplify that voice for ourselves. Obviously, there's a lot of things that are scary as well, but that part I put somewhere, some other time I deal with it, with the scary part.
We'll get to that bridge when we get there, right? I think, I mean, yeah, I love what you said too. I mean, as we think about efficiency, like I genuinely believe in the next couple of years, 5 people will be able to do the work of 25, right? Because
easily,
I mean, even when you look at salespeople, right? I mean, they're only spending 30% of their day selling. Everything else is managing data and updating information and all of this manual, tedious BS that just doesn't need to be done. And I imagine that 70% is probably pretty consistent with marketers, with customer success, with engineers. And so if we could just make people 100% productive and also give them insights and raise the floor, right? So that people don't have this 80% that they can fail in. The worst that they could possibly do is 80% of a role. And I think that could be really, really powerful.
We can get people back to what they're really enjoying and what they're really loving at work. And there's a lot of beauty there. There's a lot of beauty in that.
Yeah. More time talking to customers, less time updating CRMs or whatever they're doing.
And get better at talking even to the difficult customers as well, because that's a skill that's worthy of acquiring.
100%. Right. How can people help you, and how can you help others going into 2024?
I've started writing on social maybe a year ago. I've been starting to take it a little bit more seriously in the past 6 months or so. And I pay a lot of attention about the type of things that I can write that can aid others on some of my learnings or some of my experiments. And every day, if something comes into my mind, I don't have like a social media calendar. I don't plan things in advance. Whatever comes through my mind kind of goes on LinkedIn. So I always scour through my mind of things that can be aiding others. And I see that so far that has helped my reach. And I get a lot of DMs that resonate with what I'm writing about, with an emphasis of showing the reality of things, not trying to put a mask and say everything is great, because not everything is not great. I'm a superhuman. I'm not a superhuman. The realities of the ups and downs of building a company. And at the same time, I think that if people spend a lot more time with just working on their brand and how they can help others through creating a brand for themselves, I think in 2024 is going to help a lot, especially for those that are working for others as well, because your worth is going to grow by you creating a better brand, and eventually the companies will catch up to the fact that it actually helps them as well, because they can rent your audience. So I have hopes that for 2024 there will be a lot more mindfulness of how people show up and how they can help others in communities and in social media as well.
100% agreed. And I think with the rise of AI, there's going to be so much noise. There's going to be so much more fluff everywhere. And every single person is going to be a brand, whether they like it or not. And I think that authenticity and the 1,000 people or 10,000 people that really, really resonate with that one thing that you do and that one unique thing, that's what I think is going to really move the needle. I agree with you.
The fake content scares me a little. Yeah. I hope that there'll be less of it.
I mean, I think it's only going to get worse.
It's going to get worse and then it's going to.
Yeah. And then I don't know. Every day on Twitter, I read, I just put out 15,000 blog posts using this one AI tool, and my SEO traffic increased. And it's like, that can't be. Yeah.
Doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound
No,
right.
something is broken or something is going to break from that, because there's no way that you're actually putting out 15,000 pieces of content that actually benefit people and are not just bullshit.
You're regurgitating what's already on the internet.
Yeah. Alina, thank you so much. This is amazing. Really appreciate the time. I think this will be a great little episode, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Mark. I hope you're going to have an amazing 2024 and you're going to achieve the next level of growth by acquiring all your competitors, right? That's what's going on in 2024.
Yeah. Okay. That is exactly it. No,
Cheers to that.
Yeah. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Bye, Mark.